Starting new recording. Matte component, drag onto the canvas. The first thing to do, extract the first parameter to work with, the boundary to which we will assign our own site polyline. You do this by right-clicking on the component and setting one curve. After that, we're going to right-click on the main component, turn off the preview, and concentrate on those parameters we want to edit. The first one is the grid. Create a curve component to visualize the grid, which is a matrix of 7 by 7, which is the div parameter. This can be customized with a panel in which we simply type the dimensions in rows and columns separated by a comma and then route them into the division. Of course, this can be then customized as needed. After which, we will have a look at the two outputs, which are two sets of spaces. Let us create a surface component for each. So this is the first one, this L-shape component, and then this is the second one, which is over here, right there. Let us change the colors by creating a preview, custom preview component and routing the geometry of this corner element. So now we have a light pink versus a sort of dark red. Let us look at the next parameter, which is the width of the interstitial space between S1 and S2, that is circulation. So that is the input W for width, which is set to 26. So create a slider between 0 and 100 and route it into W in order to define the width of the interstitial space. And then in order to deal with this very light filleting, set the parameter, which is by default equal to 57, to anything between 0 and 200, so that we can go from a fully orthogonal angle to a highly filleted one right there. Create then a surface component to visualize the last output that we haven't looked at, which is the interstitial space between these two elements, which I just highlighted right here, which is right there. And then, having done that, so we have one set of spaces, okay, another set of spaces, and then the interstitial space between them. And now we can simply extrude one of them to show how, these particular elements can become self-contained rooms. So it's probably better to create a curve component as opposed to using the surface one, even though both would work. And having this curve component routed straight into an extruded component right there, okay? And then, of course, make sure that you set a sufficient height for the extrusion. There's a lot of ways of doing this. I'm going to do it with a panel. So I'm going to create another panel here, and I'm just going to type the vector of extrusion, which would be 0, 0, and 200 units along the z-axis, separated by a comma. That's the simplest way to set up a vector, which is what you have over there. Okay. And then finally, having done this, let us look at why this particular pattern looks the way it does. This is because of two sets of points, PT1 and PT2, which serve as attractors for the distribution of the rooms. Extract PT1 right there by extracting the parameter, and then make sure that once you've extracted it, you right-click to make sure that the preview is enabled. And then you can see the three green points over here that are responsible for the distribution of these three rooms. So you can simply move them about select the points, you see, move them about, and then see the reconfiguration of the rooms in real time, as it were, okay? This, of course, is highly sensitive to the resolution that we have chosen, okay? So you see that if you change the numbers of rows and columns, there will be massive changes in relation to this. Let us now extract the attractors that define the center of the 3 pink rooms. So that's PT2 right there. Extract the parameter, highlight it, make sure that it is previewed, okay? And then move them about just to see what happens. You see? And now we're configuring the other space right here. You can add points, you can subtract points, you can change the grid, you can move things in every possible way. I'm going to finish this very short demonstration by simply moving the circulation up. So I'm going to create a move component into which I'm going to route the circulation, and then I'm going to move it by the same amount that I extruded the walls, simply by routing this. And you can see it over here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bake the walls that I created, as well as the ceiling that I created, and change the display mode to Arctic to show you how quickly I actually created this element. And that, of course, is one combination out of 15 million or more. Thank you for your attention, and I will continue with this in the next demonstration.